Hi there. I am Meredith, and I am an astrologer and an intuitive based out of North Carolina. If you like this video and want to support this channel, you can subscribe, like, and share this video and comment below about your intentions for February and what you are trying to create. I wanted to talk a little bit about February 2022 astrology because it's arguably going to be one of the most action-packed months of the year. I wanted to share with you about this because, I think that there's a couple of things in here that are going to be really interesting. It's going to be a really interesting month. I'll say that. I'm going to record part of this as like a part one for my YouTube channel, and I'll record a part two for my Substack, which is Virgo Venus Pisces Moon .substack.com. The subscription is very inexpensive. I think it's like $70 a year or $7 a month. So if you subscribe yearly, you get a little bit of a discount. And I've been really excited with what's going on over there and with the response that I've had so far. It's been really nice. And if you're a subscriber over there, then I really appreciate you. If you're not, then no problem. Just wanted to take a second to express gratitude for the people that do subscribe there. So let's get into it a little bit. So let's see. So today is February 1st when I'm recording this, and we are in the first day of the Chinese New Year. So I did a little bit of research on this, and I thought it was really interesting because it kind of reflects what I've been feeling for the beginning of 2022, or just for 2022 in general. It's the year of the water tiger. So there are 12 different types of animals in the Chinese zodiac, and this is the year of the tiger, which means that we are moving forward with action, decisiveness, urgent decisions, motivations. It's really like an off to the races type of year. And that really reflects also in the Western astrology as well. And I'll share why in a second. The water aspect of this, though, is very relational, very emotional. And it really does reflect like what the North Node in Taurus, being Venus ruled, represents, which is relationships and who affects us and who we work with in the real and the physical world, not the digital world. This is also reflected in the fact that this is a 6 year. So if you add up 2022, all of those twos equal 6, and 6 is ruled by Venus. This is the cosmic mother type of energy. So it is really like this strong Venusian and relational theme where even though we have this tiger energy of like going out and getting it, there is this component of us that also has to become like magnetic and, kind of walk in step with trust in the universe and in the greater play, which our humans may not understand. As we are, I believe, going through a type of end of days cycle or end time cycle, which really doesn't mean, I think, what a lot of people who are really into that sort of like end of days decoding or whatever, it means something, in my opinion, that is different. I think we're, kind of in this end of the age cycle, and there are always different, there's been ages, throughout history, throughout time. So I believe also that time as we know it, and I've said this before on this channel, is kind of going away. So we have more access to time as multilinear, multidimensional, multidirectional, and we can influence more just by sitting right here and tuning into the different waves where, Walter Russell, I'm reading this Walter Russell book right now, and he says, in the wave lies the secret of creation. I had to write that on my wall because I was just like, that is, yes. So there's a lot of different ways, I think, to approach this time and to approach this year. But I think the more that we're able to kind of like, it's like a Chinese finger trap, right? On some level, because we are like having to soften in addition and trust and become magnetic in addition to taking aligned action. And for those of you who have been following my channel and my journey, I've really become interested and invested in human design. I think that it's a really important study and really impactful to study at this time because, the creator of human design, who brought this like ridiculously genius system through, he said that, basically, oh crap, I lost my train of thought. Oh, he said that like what will get us through between now and 2027, which is when he believed was a global frequency change or like a background shift, where a lot of the systems that we've come to depend on and come to know and trust begin to fall away. And the tribalism that we've known too is like not really going to work anymore. Like one of the things that I've been working on in my own spare time, like the autist that I am, is looking at Rudolf Steiner, and looking at his prophecies, and then looking also at Ra's prophecies. Ra, the creator of human design, or the person who brought that type of system through. And the one thing that I think is very, very interesting is that both parties say that this particular initiation that we're going through right now is individual. So it's kind of that energy of like, there's a lot of energy of collectivism. There's a lot of energy of control, top-down control. And it's one of those things where like, that's just not going to work. Like people who do go right into the collectivist thing, I don't think that they are going to pass the planetary initiation that we're going through, because this is an individual thing. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can, make this happen for you. So that's something to consider. So in looking at as well, the water tiger, kind of coming back to that for a moment before I, start on this like day by day breakdown of some of the aspects that are going to be present in February of 2022 are, so the last time that there was a water tiger year was the year that we had the Cuban Missile Crisis. And it's also the time that humans decided that they were going to try to go to space. The time that Kennedy wanted to put whatever it was that he wanted to put on the moon. If you have been listening to my work for a while or keeping up with it, you know that I don't believe that space is like we've seen that it is. I think there's a lot of holes in that, and that, part of the collectivism, I think, or like the part of the entrapment or the ensnarement, I think, is to really buy fully into the idea that space is something that is out there, that is very expansive. I think that, space is all around us. And I have personally had experiences in Gnosis where I see space as either water or dimensional. So I just wanted to really clarify that, not that you have to believe me or take my own word for it, do your research and also like have your own experience of, sitting with that and see what comes to you, because a lot of what we're going through right now and, the decisions that we're going to have to make, it's like, you can try to lean on an external authority if you want to, but I think that that will prove to be extremely futile. So, yeah. All right, let's talk about this, this month ahead. Like I said, part 2 is going to be on my Substack, and I will link this in the description below. I'll probably publish part 2 either tonight or tomorrow. So February 3rd, obviously we just had a new moon in Aquarius early this morning, which was conjunct Saturn. So kind of like bringing a very serious new beginning with a square to Uranus. So there is this need to be flexible and adaptable in the 2-week to 6-month cycle that follows this new moon. There's like a need to maybe refocus on some of the goals that we set, and a need to maybe like get a little bit serious about some things. There's like this awareness of like, okay, well shit, I might have to spend more time with this or apply more discipline to this, whatever this is for you. So I have included in the description below too I wrote a little bit about the new moon last night. And so if you'd like to check that out, we're still in that window. Also on February 3rd is when Mercury stations direct. So Mercury stationed retrograde, I believe, January 14th in Aquarius, and has moved all the way backwards or away from us, making its influence harder to grasp. It's now in Capricorn. And for the last week or so, or really longer than that, it's been conjunct Pluto. So Pluto is the energy of death and rebirth, transformation, of having to really let go, having to surrender. It's our darkness and like where it's alchemy. All of the things that we don't want to talk about, that we want to remain hidden. And Pluto is actually moving on February 3rd to this 27th degree of Capricorn, which is where the Pluto return is. The Pluto return comes exact on February 22nd of 2022. It's almost like we live in some kind of a simulation or something. Am I right? And I'll talk a little bit about this in a second, but with regard to our individual lives and Mercury being like in this retrograde station and direct station on Pluto, we have to let go of something to move forward. There's something that we can't continue with, as Randy Moggins so geniusly calls it, through the eye of this needle. We have to become we have to let a lot of baggage down. One second. All right, so I would like for you to consider, what do you need to let go of in order to keep going? And what is on your heart to release? We have to cauterize and completely sever with something. And also, because Mercury is stationing direct and will make a conjunction to Pluto later on in the month, which I will talk about, I think that this is a really interesting type of conjunction, because it's like we're having to break old contracts and maybe making new intense contracts of new relationships, new people in our lives, new career pursuits, new places to carry our money, that kind of thing, and new things to invest our time, our energy, and our finances and resources into. So the Pluto return is something that I'm going to talk about extensively in part 2. But what this means, that Pluto is coming to the 27th degree of Capricorn exact on February 22nd, is that this is a major upheaval and death and rebirth for people and for governments, for systems and institutions, because that's what Capricorn represents in the States. No one knows how it will go. I have my suspicions, I have my ideas, but nobody knows how it will go. And, I think that the united we stand, divided we fall is definitely true for the US. And I don't know if you've looked around lately, but we are certainly, most certainly divided and splintered into several different pieces. And I feel that this could be a near-death experience for America, which really we've already been in that. This could be an actual death. We could see planets, or not planets, we could see countries, whole countries succeed. We could see America getting sold off to different nations for its parts. I mean, who knows? We could see the cyber pandemic happen, that Klaus Schwab has been talking about. And there's no way to really know. It looks like we're gearing up for some kind of war. So there's just a lot of different things. And I'm holding the highest potential in my heart that the American people, not the governments, not the leaders, not the institutions, but the people of this country will get their head out of their asses and see what is actually staring them down. It's pretty significant. And I do think that this has some economic implications and also supply chain and food shortage, earth change type implications. And you know what? If you've known, you've known. If you know, you've stocked up. And if you don't know, then you don't know. And I kind of refuse at this point to keep hammering that point home to people who don't care and who aren't stocking up, who think that these institutions are just going to be the same way forever. People who are on this red team, blue team bullshit, which is done. After, I feel like this Pluto return, it's just, that's going to be done. And without, I'm not going to say any more on that. Obviously, have some opinions about it, but I have what I hope, will happen, which is that, we have a rebirth as a one whole nation, united under the values that are very idealistic that were set, while also recognizing how, America has been policing the world and has been one of the most imperialist nations. I just hope that we can all kind of come together on all of those things. If not, that's okay. I've kind of carved out my own space of peace here, but really good, I think, to get together some plans with your family and your friends in case things go in a strange direction. Okay, so and also I think it's a good thing to diversify your assets. So putting some, taking money out of banks would be a recommendation of mine. You can please do your own research about everything that I'm saying. You don't have to listen to me about this, but it's a good thing to, I think, be aware of as we approach this Pluto return, that there could be a time where we can't get our money out of the banks, or we can't access that. If you and also focus on cybersecurity. So these are, I'm done with my rant. That's all. And yeah, so then, okay, so kind of zooming out from the bigger picture, the national or global picture, and back into our personal lives. On February 4th, there's going to be a Sun-Saturn conjunction. This happens once a year, and it can feel like we are a little bit tired, a little bit limited, a little bit constricted, can feel like we have to take certain things more seriously. So that has that kind of energy to it. And, really the first several days of February have that sort of sobering, cautious type of energy that accompanies it as well. So on February 11th, Mercury is going to make a conjunction with Pluto. And this is interesting to me because, like I said, we've all had these things that we just have to let go of. And I feel that this Mercury Pluto conjunction will be extremely clarifying, because the one prior was in the, this Mercury retrograde kind of confusing, reviewing type of energy. I think that we'll have a little bit more clarity, not that Mercury is out of its shadow phase quite yet, but Mercury will conjunct Pluto on February 11th. And I think that that will be a really interesting kind of aha moment or a breakthrough, or we'll be able to have a very intense type of conversation. We'll be able to see like really what's what in our lives. And, you know, it's also with all of these Capricorn transits that we are going through in February, it's really great to question and to look at. And I've been saying this like a fucking broken record over the last several years, but really good to question your relationship to power, your relationship to money, to authority, to these concepts, and where are you externalizing your power or casting your power outside of yourself. On February 15th, the sun in Aquarius is going to square the North and South Node, which are in Taurus and Scorpio. And then on February 16th, the full moon is going to be in Leo at the 28th degree. So this is pretty intense. You know, we finish out Aquarius season with a high level of intense energy of, you know, maybe really coming up against these places within ourselves that are at odds with where we are trying to go, with where our soul is trying to push us. You know, I find that because I have a lot of fixed energy in my chart, I have the sun, I have Jupiter, I have Chiron and Leo, Saturn and Aquarius, I have Pluto and Scorpio. And so in some instances, I do feel that, you know, it's hard when you have that much fixed energy to really let go of control, to stop trying to like steer the ship in the direction that you think that it should go. So it's a big like thy will, not my will type of energy, in my opinion. And it also really is going to feel, I believe, pretty tense on this full moon in Leo. It'll be a huge, like, it kind of feels like a fork in the road, or like a time where, you know, we're like, okay, whoa, like it's very polarizing and very like feeling pulled in one direction or the other. You know, the sun in Aquarius really wants us to hear other people, listen to others. It wants to focus more on community and that kind of thing. Awesome. Okay, sorry. It wants to focus more on community. It wants to focus on, you know, the collective and like what's best for the collective. But the full moon in Leo is like, you know, what happens when we give our power and our sovereignty away to a collective that does not have its own best interest in mind? You know what I mean? The North Node in Taurus is wanting us to build where we are, and the South Node in Scorpio is trying to get us to release trauma and to release, you know, the need to like excessively depend on other people. So it's like, it's a really interesting sort of like fixed cross type of energy. We'll see how that plays out. Especially because the Venus-Mars conjunction, which I am going to talk about on my Substack, is happening on that very same day. Leo and Aquarius can kind of have to do with relationships. And so kind of going back to the beginning of what I said at the, you know, beginning of this video, this month is going to be a very clarifying time for relationships. February 18th, the sun moves into Pisces. And so we may have like a more conscious or like easy access to our compassion and our sensitivity, you know, especially like right when the sun moves into Pisces, you know, in the first few days of February, it's going to come into like, it's going to like apply to a conjunction with Jupiter, which is going to be the luckiest. It's like the best type of feeling. Also happens once a year. You know, I believe that maybe like the first few days of March is when that is exact, but I will have to check. And on, let's see. Yep, and I think that those are the only aspects that I really wanted to talk about for YouTube. Like I said, just to kind of review, This is a great time because all of the planets are direct and we are moving into this year of the tiger to take action and to go boldly forward while also not neglecting things like receptivity, relationships, that kind of thing. I think this is going to be an extremely clarifying month for relationships. And for those of us in the States, it'll be a very interesting time to see what unfolds. I happen to believe that people who were born in the United States and who haven't left, who still live here, and who are going to be here through this Pluto return are like karmically, cosmically supposed to watch whatever this is happen. You know, nothing painful lasts forever. And for the record, I don't believe that the governments of, you know, that the United States government is at all, I don't believe that it is at all exempt from this type of energy where everything has to be revealed. You know, February is just the beginning of the Pluto return. This is something that plays out over the course of the next few years. You know, Pluto moves into Aquarius for a small time next year, which is going to be really, really interesting to see how that plays out. And yeah, I just wanted to share all of that with you. And let me know what your intentions are, what you're trying to create for February. Let me know how I can support you. You can find a link to access readings and my subscription service, where I'll put part 2 of this video in the description. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Goodbye.